Welcome to 5 Facts Only. Today, we're counting down the top 5 creepiest things caught in abandoned hospitals' real footage. Real chills. Number 5. Just outside downtown Los Angeles, in the city of Downey, California, lies a hospital with a long, chilling past Rancho Los Amigos. While the main hospital is still in operation today, large portions of the original facility have been sealed off and forgotten for decades. These abandoned areas are not just empty, they're haunted, according to many who've dared to explore them. The hospital was founded in 1888 and served many purposes over the years. In the 1950s, it became a major treatment center for polio patients. As a result, other wings of the campus were shut down, including a grim facility known as the LA County Poor Farm. This mental asylum was a place where the elderly, the disabled, the homeless, and the mentally ill were all housed together. Nearby were other oddities, including a military training base and even a small zoo. By the 1980s, these areas were completely abandoned, locked up, and left to rot. But the silence in these buildings doesn't feel peaceful. To some, it feels like the presence of something still lingers. 2 ghost hunters, Marsha and Kirsten, set out to explore the old hospital grounds. Once inside, they found decaying ranch-style homes, boarded-up wards, and empty streets that looked like a forgotten miniature city. But despite the decay, nothing felt abandoned. Kirsten described the sensation as if people were still inside the buildings watching. As they moved toward the old army base, both women suddenly felt a powerful sense of being observed. They didn't speak it aloud, but they each knew something was there. The feeling grew worse, the deeper they went. When they reached the old asylum, things got even stranger. Despite years of abandonment, the rooms were still filled with high-end medical equipment, books, and personal belongings. Why hadn't any of it been cleared out? The buildings were full of toxic asbestos and clearly unsafe. But it looked like the workers had fled in a hurry, leaving everything behind. To Kirsten, it was as if something had frightened them off fast. The atmosphere became unbearable. "It's like being in a world that isn't yours," Kirsten later said. "And whatever lives there doesn't want you staying long." Both women left convinced that they had not been alone, and that the hospital's dark past was still very much alive. Then, in 2006, US Marines conducting a training exercise in the abandoned section made a horrifying discovery. During a routine sweep, they came across a rusted old freezer in a decaying room. Curious, they opened it. The stench was overwhelming. Inside, they found human body, part-severed legs, feet, and what looked like shriveled, preserved brains. Experts later said the remains were likely over 30 years old. The area they had entered was an old morgue, and the parts were believed to be medical waste from amputations. But even so, were they never removed? Why leave them in a freezer, deep inside an abandoned hospital? And if those were left behind, what else might be hidden in the dark hallways and sealed rooms of Rancho Los Amigos? Those who visited the forgotten hospital say the feeling of being watched never goes away. Something is still inside, and it doesn't want to be found. Number 4. Opened in 1931, in Newtown, Connecticut, Fairfield Hills State Hospital was built to relieve overcrowding at other institutions. It spanned 770 acres with 16 buildings and held up to 4,000 patients at once. To outsiders, it looked calm and peaceful, but inside, it was a place of cruelty and psychological torment. Patients were subjected to horrifying procedures, including lobotomies and invasive brain surgeries. Another method was hydrotherapy, where patients were restrained in warm baths for hours, even days without stimulation or bathroom breaks. Temperatures ranged from 90 to 97 degrees Fahrenheit, though colder water, between 48-70 degrees Fahrenheit, was used for certain diagnoses. Sometimes they were simply sprayed with water, trapped, and left in isolation. Fairfield Hills finally shut down in 1995, but its darkness didn't fade. Locals say satanic cults gathered in the abandoned halls, and many report sightings of a female ghost dressed in white. She is often seen staring through a particular window, glowing light behind her. Her story became so popular, she was featured in MTV's paranormal show, Fear. Like the infamous Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Fairfield Hills had underground tunnels connecting all 16 buildings. These tunnels allowed for the secret movement of staff, patients, and even corpses. Visitors and explorers often heard unexplained screams echoing through the dark underground, which is likely why the tunnels were eventually filled in. Today, the site is off limits. Police actively patrol the area, and trespassers risk a $100 fine and jail time. Still, thrill seekers continue to break in, and often, they leave with footage and stories they can't explain. Something still lingers. Number 3. The High Street Ghost House in Sai Ying Pun, built in 1892 for European nurses, was later seized by Japanese troops in WWIE and used as an execution hall. It became a mental hospital before being abandoned in 1961 after 2 major fires. Since then, terrifying paranormal sightings have been reported. One ghost, dressed in traditional robes, appears calm until he charges and bursts into flames. Headless figures are seen sprinting through the halls, believed to be spirits of executed POWs. A woman's cries echo through the night, and heavy footsteps are often heard with no one around. The building may be quiet by day, but by night, the horrors of its past seem to come alive. Number 2. The Trans-Allegheny Asylum in West Virginia was built in 1858 by prison labor and opened its doors to patients just 1 year before the Civil War ended. This massive, Gothic structure sits on exactly 666 Acresa number that now seems oddly fitting. What was meant to be a place of healing quickly became a house of horrors. Patients were locked in cages, left to rot in their own waste, and forgotten. Screams echoed through the halls, and some staff began hearing laughter or groans from empty wings. Even in the early years, ghostly sightings were common. The treatment of patients bordered on torture, chained down, isolated, and abandoned to die. By the 1950s, the asylum housed over 2,600 patients, more than 10 times its intended capacity. Many lived without proper lighting, furniture, or heat during brutal winters. By the 1950s, the criminally insane were still being caged like animals. Among the many who passed through its doors was infamous serial killer Charles Manson, who reportedly stayed here for a time. Thousands of patients died within the walls of the asylum, some from mistreatment, others from suicide or failed procedures. Their bodies were believed to be buried in mass graves across the property. Voices are still heard talking through the walls, and it's said that even former staff members now haunt the halls. Janitors, nurses, and even doctors are seen wandering before vanishing into thin air. One psychiatrist reported being followed for years by the ghost of a patient who took his life under her care. In another case, a nurse was found dead at the bottom of a stairwell. Others were reportedly attacked, or worse. Today, the spirits of both victims and their caretakers remain trapped, still bound to the nightmare that was the Trans-Allegheny Asylum. Number 1. YouTuber Ferris Wheeler explores an abandoned hospital with a friend, instantly noticing flies everywhere and locked doors. Inside, they sadly find a dead cat, likely trapped for days. Disheartened, they decide to leave, but their camera captures something eerie. In the shadows stands a small, still figure with long hair covering its face. Ferris Wheeler believes it's the ghost of a child. Others think it might just be debris or a trash bin. What do you see? Subscribe to 5 Facts Only for more creepy content just like this.